This is John Locke, and today I want to answer a question that I saw on Reddit that I thought was really interesting, and so I want to address it. So what this person was saying is they know of another software company in their field. They're a software company. They know another software company, and they had another domain name at some other point. They had a secondary site, and they let that domain name expire a couple years ago. And what they were asking in the thread was, would it be ethical? Is it okay if I pick up that domain name and then redirect all the old URLs, the old web addresses, to web addresses on my site? And I know what they're thinking. They're thinking that they're going to pick up this, what we call a dropped domain or an expired domain, and they're going to point all that link equity toward their site, because evidently this domain name has some sites linking into it. And apparently on the surface level, it looks calm and good. It looks good for a domain name, and they want to pass some of that basically link equity, link juice, page rank, whatever you want to call it, through there and boost up their site. But there's a couple of reasons why I would caution them from not doing this. First off, there's probably a reason why this site has not been, the domain name has not been picked up again in the last 2 years. Now, if you say that you're in a competitive space and nobody has picked up this domain in the last 2 years and used it for the purpose that you're thinking of using it for, that's probably a poisoned domain, what we call poisoned. It's basically Google hit it with a bunch of spam penalties. Maybe they had a bunch of private blog networks like pointing links at it, a bunch of spammy links pointing at it, and then basically Google just put the hammer down on it and penalized it into the dirt. That could be the main reason why this domain name has not been picked up in the last 2 years by any of your competitors, because apparently this is a good domain name besides just the linking. One way that you could look at this is, run it through something like Ahrefs or SEMrush or Majestic and try and get a sense of what kind of links are actually pointing at it, and see how many of them actually look like they might be the types of links that would incur a manual penalty from Google's web spam team. So if it looks like that, then you should probably back off of this domain, because pointing it at your domain is going to kill your domain off. You pick up this domain, point it at yours, it's going to have a negative effect on yours. So the second thing that I would say to this is the person that was posting this in the forum, they said that they wanted to just straight take the domain, point it toward corresponding URLs on their site, and not build out the site the way that it was. I would say that if you are going to go this route and you are going to point somebody's expired domain at yours, that you are probably better off on building up, if not the same site, but something similar as to what was there before, and instead of just pointing them straight at your domain. Because for one, Google's going to associate that domain name with that old brand. So whatever the old secondary brand or secondary site is, if they see a bunch of links with that anchor text pointing toward your site, which is what that is, like those URLs are just forwarding to your URLs and they're being 301 redirected, it's basically all the anchor text is from that other site, not from your brand name, but from their brand domain, their domain name, their brand name, not yours. And so Google's going to know right away if you have too many of those URLs pointing there. That's going to be that's going to send off some signals that you're trying to manipulate stuff. If you were to do this, I would say this in caution: be very cautious about doing it. If you were to do that, I wouldn't do it in too much excess, because you might, be tripping some kind of trigger over at Google, an algorithmic penalty. The other thing that I would say is it's probably better to get some new links, because even though this old domain that's expired, it has some links pointing at it. If it's been 2 years that this domain name has been dead and stagnant, if you resurrect this domain name, you are starting from scratch as a brand. Now, Google representatives, and even though I don't take everything that they say with 100% gospel truth, because there is a little bit of leading you off the track and a little bit of misinformation in there, they have said that Google basically treats those dead domains as soft 404s, meaning we recognize that that site basically is dead, it was buried in the earth, 6 feet under, it's gone. So if you resurrect it, you're resurrecting it as a brand new brand, which is why I said it's probably better if you build it out as your own secondary site instead of trying to just 301 redirect everything. The only thing that you're going to bring on your site, you might get a little benefit, but I'd be really careful, because if it is a toxic, if it is a poisoned domain, you're going to be bringing more penalty on your site or more harm onto your site than you would be spreading benefit. Any benefit that were from those links is in the old brand, in the old domain. So you're better off trying to build new links that are new and unique to you, or that are brand new, to where the benefit of those links is being passed to your brand, and not just leeching off the dead corpse of a buried, poisoned, possibly poisoned domain. I hope that answers that question. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. We help manufacturing and industrial firms with SEO, helping them get more requests for quotes. And we're here every week publishing videos. We'd be happy to answer your question if you have one. Drop it in the comments below. And we'd love to see you subscribe to the channel. That's it for now. Until next time, peace.